Hello everyone, this is Daisy here, aka Professional High Priestess, and I'm here to drop some information regarding the coronavirus. Oh my goodness. This is going to be very interesting because we're going to go from the fifth dimension and higher down all the way below to like the first dimension, right? Where the little microbiomes and critters live. And you know something that's really funny and kills me? It's like people will believe in a microscope that you can't see the lower dimensions with the naked eye. Yes, that's why we have telescopes, right? But then when we tell them that there's higher dimensions and entities that we can't see from higher dimensions, oh, I don't believe in that. You see, but because that's man's like obsession with dominating, you know? Because if we were to say that there's actually a higher dimension that actually has control over us and we can't see it, but there are ways that we can see it via divination and spirit science, right? It will kind of blow apart their whole little scientific method or things like that. So that's something that I thought was like really interesting. But the first thing to understand first and foremost about coronavirus, this is multidimensional warfare. This is biological warfare, and this is a global economic tactic, okay? Now, for those who are worried about the coronavirus, I'm not even worried about it. Like we didn't have so many epidemics and outbreaks. I'm not even tripping. I am more likely to contract the disease eating pork or beef than I am like with the coronavirus. Matter of fact, we'll get into that in a minute, but coronavirus, eating beef and pork, which I'm going to show you in a minute, is actually one of the fastest ways to get coronavirus, okay? And people are like, okay, well, if that's the case, why isn't like America blowing up yet? Wait, it's coming, because where do we get all of our meat from? China, right? And if you guys remember, oh shit, I just remembered that. I don't know if you guys remember this, but when Donald Trump first became president, he reduced sanctions on imports from meat on China and other countries. I'm not being anti-Asian in my assessment of this. However, we're talking about a country that most people who are in poverty, right? There's little to no regulation on the food safety, even to the point where, I don't know if you saw the BBC documentary about plastic food coming out of China, or people even selling rat meat as like boneless chicken and stuff like that. There's a whole documentary on it. Go search it. But because there are a lack of those regulations, it's easy for outbreaks and different things like that to come through the food supply system. And as we continue to rely on outside countries to bring in our food source, because America, remember, we hardly have any farmland and things like that, and we don't invest in localizing farming and things like that as a form of social justice and economic prosperity for America. We get everything from everywhere else, right? So that's another thing that's going to also be looked at as well. And some people are like, well, you know, if I'm gonna get to that in a minute, but the main thing to understand with coronavirus, in order to contract this virus, you need to be in that specific vibration of fear and codependency, okay? Fear, codependency, and narcissism. When you are operating out of a very low frequency, it's easy for you to pick up those entities from the lower vibrational world, right? Because remember, this is a multidimensional warfare. And this is not about spiritual bypass. Oh, love and light, if you meditate, you're not gonna get AIDS or sick. No. That's just common knowledge though, right? And this is the science and the information that was taken out and away from the medical system as it transferred over from the Imhotep-based vibrational medicine to the Hippocrates Greek-based herbs and man interference and invasive measures to the Western-based system, okay, of chemicals. So you guys have to also understand, let me get to this in a minute. They've been at this for years in terms of the chemical warfare. This is a really good book called Guns, Germs, and Steel. Many of you have probably already read this book, but it actually goes deep into details about the ways in which empires and imperialists and superpowers and colonialists have used germs and chemical warfare to delete and obliterate entire communities. So when you're thinking about the coronavirus, you guys have to also remember, I'm going to get into this in a minute, a virus is an inorganic being. That's why they have something called viral theory. They don't even know how viruses are created. They know how viruses are created. It's created in a fucking lab. They know that, but let us just call it a theory, just like the theory of evolution and the theory of whatever. We know how it's created, right? They just try to put all these different theories and hypotheses and things in our mind to skew us away from what's really going on. Because when you don't have the proper definition or understanding of how a situation is created, you do not have the proper mechanism to address it. All right? So that's the first thing to understand. This is a really good book. I want to give an example. For the native folks, Something that they used to do is they would actually get blankets infected with smallpox. That's actually the way in which the British, the French used to try to fight during the French and British War. They would send sick soldiers that they knew had yellow fever or knew that they were going to die, to go impersonate British soldiers, get the uniform, everything, and then make everyone sick in the platoon. Yes, that's how they used to fight. What they would do is they would get these tainted blankets that have smallpox, yellow fever, whatever in it. They would then pass those over to the native folks. The disease would decimate them because remember, they didn't have that immunity to some of the diseases that these Europeans were bringing because the Europeans were very dirty. You see, so they were bringing all kinds of shit across the water that the native folks were not used to. You see the power of immunity and keeping your vibration to a certain state. So these native folks, yes, they practice very good hygiene and they ate well and things like that, but the disease was too powerful for them because this is something that they've never been exposed to, right? The funny thing is, it talks about it in this book that after these entire villages would be cleared out from the natives and they would be killed, then the settlers will come in and steal all of their wares and artifacts and things like that and set up camp there. I'm going to make a video about this, about generational karma, but for a lot of y'all who your ancestors come from, you know, the East Coast or Plymouth Rock, or, you know, they were a part of these different legacies, y'all got some real fucking karma, like real karma for that type of stuff. I want to give another example. There's a book called AIDS in Africa, Ethics and AIDS in Africa, and it talks about how there'll be like villages, right? Where the way that the contraction happens is so weird. Like the mom will have it, but the baby won't get it. They couldn't figure out, like, why is it that the contraction was very weird because they were injecting people with it, right? Whole entire villages will be decimated by AIDS, HIV. Then 3 months later, there'll be a mining or a water mine or oil rig on that same exact land. That's how they fight biochemical warfare. They've been doing it in the hood for years. It's called government food. It's called, what's it called? Biochemical warfare. It's called, what's it called? The corner store, where we can't get access to healthy food. That, of course, is going to lower our vibration, lower our mental capacity, right? Get us acting a certain type of way. And of course, we're going to follow a certain pattern because our vibration is in a certain frequency, right? So they can generate whole entire generation after generation after generation of the same exact person in patterns, called social engineering. Now, you also have to understand, this is a economic tactic, this coronavirus, right? Because remember, it's coming out of China first and foremost, but you have to understand too, remember I said that there's a lack of regulation and things like that in China? The problem is there's a lot of unsanitary water that gets put into the food system, all of that stuff. So they were saying that coronavirus was actually caused by the mix and interaction of like human feces or something like that, right? Okay, well, what's happening with the water supply system, right? And this is actually how epidemiology, which is the study of disease outbreaks, first started. Because in ancient Britain, like in the 1700s, people kept on breaking out with like yellow fever, I believe. Yes. So they were able to figure out, whoa, this yellow fever is traveling through the water because people kept on mixing sewage with the laundry water and the drinking water. So they went to all the different water pipes and all the different sewage pipes, and they were tracking, okay, this one is contaminated, that one's contaminated, and they were able to contain the virus. That's how it started. That's how epidemiology started years and years and years and years ago. But look at this map, yo, about the, this basically is showing, like, from an aerial view, how the coronavirus shut down factories. You guys have to understand, remember, China is where we get all of our stuff from. You guys have to also understand we are moving towards the age of automation, of jobs. China is one of the most labor-intensive places, meaning like all like sewing, food making, making of phones, assembly, all that happens in China. We get all of our stuff from China. But remember, China they're trying to make global moves, right? So they're like, you know what? There's a way that we got to figure out how to like eliminate a lot of these different people because we want to move more towards a automated labor system. You see what I'm saying? So you can even see here, look at all the, this is like smog from the different factories because the factories got shut down because of the virus. Look at it now. Absolutely nothing. Isn't that crazy? Look at that. Decimating. Now imagine as this virus continues and all these what do you call it, factories become empty or whatnot because the staff are dying, and now guess what? We have no staff because everyone's dying out, so we have to go get machines. Boom. There you go. It's a global economic movement tactic on a large scale. They're playing chess, not checkers. All right? So let me go ahead and show y'all some very interesting stuff on the internet. Well, first thing first, when we're talking about these different patents and diseases and things like that, a lot of these different viruses specifically, they're patented. Look at Ebola. There's even a patent on the HIV/AIDS virus. And I know a lot of people are gonna be like, well, they create them and get them patented for research purposes. Yes, they do. But you know, a lot of these, even the person who created the Wuhan virus, what the fuck were you doing creating a virus that you can't treat? You see what I'm saying? Anyways, there's a whole lot that goes into all of this, and I'm just gonna stop right there. But there's even viruses on the coronavirus. Yes. All right. So I want to get into the breakdown of like, well, how does this coronavirus even work? Okay. How does it impact the body? It says COVID-19 most likely spreads via contact with virus-laden droplets expelled from an infected person's cough, sneeze, or breath. Okay. Once inside the body, the coronavirus invades the epithelial cells that line and protect the respiratory tract. Okay. If the virus treks down the windpipe to the peripheral branches of the respiratory tree and lung tissue, it can trigger a more severe phase of the disease. That's due to the pneumonia causing damage inflicted directly by the virus, plus secondary damage caused by the body's response to the infection. Okay. Let me see. Where were they talking? They were talking about the So basically what they were saying is about this coronavirus is that what ends up happening is how does it kill you? Yeah, how does the coronavirus kill? Okay, how the virus kills. I think this is it. Okay, yes. Is this the same article? What? Did they change it? Bear with me, y'all. All right. So basically what they said about coronavirus is that something it ends up doing is after it attacks your lungs, it then causes, what is coronavirus? Okay, so basically what they said about the coronavirus is that what it does is it goes into the body, okay? And that it's, all right. So anyways, sorry about that, y'all. So basically about the coronavirus, they said that the way that it kills is that after it enters the body and it impacts the lungs and things like that, right? Because it's not treatable, the virus then ends up doing something creating septic shock, what I'm gonna get into in a minute, okay? We're gonna get into that, but first, before I even get into how the virus kills, I wanna show y'all what a virus looks like. This is the coronavirus right here. This is exactly what it looks like under a camera. The little red arrows, that's the virus, okay? Let's keep looking. So you guys have to understand that there's 3 different types of viruses, okay, out there. The main type of virus is bacteriophage. Does this look natural? Does this look like nature created that? Remember, nature doesn't create straight lines, so there's that. But with the bacteriophage, what it does is it's an alignment with certain bacteria. It's like how certain game cartridges only work for certain game systems. So bacteriophage is like maybe PS3, Xbox. No, actually, let's say it's Xbox, right? And it's also GameCube, okay? And it's also Nintendo, right? Those are different systems, but they're all kind of ported with one another. You can put Xbox games inside of a GameCube, right? Or you can put, yeah, that's whatever. But the bacteriophage, they will go to different diseases. They will clamp down onto the bacteria. Then they will insert a little feeler that comes out from here. Remember, the bacteria has to be a vibratory frequency and match for the bacteriophage to be able to enter. Send a little pin all the way down and rewrite the DNA of the bacteria to turn it into a virus. That's how viruses work. That's exactly how viruses work, okay? So there's 3 types of viruses. We have HIV virus, the bacteriophage, and the adenovirus. Coronavirus is an adenovirus. And what makes it different from a bacteriophage, right? right? So the way that an adenovirus works, okay, it's packaged. So what it does is basically there's like this little terminase, which is like a tail that has like all the genetic memory. Then it finds an empty procapsid, which is basically a cell that already exists, right? Within on the DNA line and on the DNA chain. So then this terminase goes ahead and attaches itself to the portal. Oh shit, we about to get in here now. Then it enters, whoop, 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 we package that, we good to go. All right, good. Then you see this terminase, it goes and it finds another empty procapsid to go ahead and fill up, to go and infect more cells. That's exactly how you make an adenovirus. But then how does an adenovirus, right, go ahead and get into the human cell? This is how it does that. Okay, so you have something called a clathrin-coated pit for your cell. So your body has a lot of different defense mechanisms to block out bacteria, because as this is even happening, you have something called macrophages being released from the body and white blood cells being released that say, hey, this virus is not natural, it's coming in, it's trying to implant its little, like these things are like drumsticks, right? Terminate, abort, abort, abort. You see what I'm saying? But if your body is a vibrational frequency and match for the virus, it's going to be able to come in and enter. You see how this is working, right? It then goes ahead and wraps itself around, like closes off the little loop that it created so that the macrophages and white bacteria cannot get in to defeat it, right? It then gets deeper into the cellular wall, deeper into the cell, and then implants itself there. Yes. Okay, this is how it works. So I wanted to show y'all how the virus works firsthand, so you can see, oh my goodness, like this is like warfare on a lower dimensional level. Right? It's the same thing with spell work. You got to be a vibrational match sometimes for like some of the spells to work. We're not saying that everyone is completely immune. No, you may be impacted a little bit. Like for instance, someone tried to send me a death spell. The way that it showed up is like I got a little scratch on my hand. You, depending on what your frequency is, that is going to dictate how much the spell works, etc. All right. So this is how the adenovirus gets into the body and works and starts to kill, etc. So it says that basically what's up happening is the bacterial infection, right, spreads from the lungs to the heart and into the bloodstream, causing sepsis, right? Sepsis occurs when chemicals released into the bloodstream to fight an infection trigger inflammatory responses throughout the body. Because what ends up happening with sepsis, it actually coagulates the blood, meaning it slows down the blood and it turns the blood from like a liquid type of factor to more of a more material type of factor, more of like a sauce or a goo type of factor, okay? But this is the thing, sepsis basically is dirty blood. And what two systems run the blood? The lymphatic system and the liver. And if you notice, the lymphatic system, right, is actually along the same exact axis as the meridian and acupuncture points in the body. All right? But then the liver too, the liver and the spleen and the thymus, they are also a part of this lymphatic system in the nodes as well, even though they're their own separate organs, you see? But the funny thing to also understand here is, okay, we're talking about, well then, if that's how the coronavirus kills, right, by letting the bacteria that's untreatable enter the blood and taint and make the blood toxic, why am I running around helter-skelter talking about a virus, when all I need to do is make sure that my lymphatic system is being drained properly through breathing, through different gravity, through different hot and cold therapies, like putting your body in extremely hot water, then putting it in extremely cold water to shock the system, right? Making sure that you clean out your spleen and your liver and detox it from dirt and illness. Because remember, the liver creates the white blood cells, but the liver also processes the blood. Because remember, if the blood is being tainted, it's going to all other organ systems. That's how coronavirus kills. Dirty blood going to your organs, to your heart, to your reproductive system, etc., and tainting the entire body with septic shock, right? So we know that there are powerful herbs and practices and breathing that we can do to get our lymphatic system and the nervous system, and our liver to the proper place. Why are you tripping? And this is where holistic medicine comes in. That's what's really going to be saving people. And I'm going to tell you right now, those of you who have a bad diet, which I was talking about, that meat eating, beef and pork specifically, chicken and turkey, yes, but specifically beef and pork, because they have more intensive bacteria, like, oh my goodness, if I showed you some of the viruses that they got in these meats, I'm actually going to show y'all, because this is what got me to be a vegetarian. There are specific trichinosis. You see, this is specific to pork. Oh my God, fucking God. That's what trichinosis looks like, right? There's specific bacteria that are only specific to beef. There's specific bacteria that's only specific to chicken. Like for instance, so trichinosis is very much, or trichinella is very much for pork, okay? But then Helicobacter pylori is more concentrated towards like chicken and beef. And you see what this does? They have these little feelers and then they plant themselves into the wall of your stomach or your intestines and start to leach and cause problems and cause something that we call leaky gut, where they create a pathway for toxins and blood to flow out of your gut and into your bloodstream. Okay? So if you're eating a whole bunch of meats and milk and all that low vibrational food, you are going to be impacted because you're blocking up this entire system. You are already processing a whole bunch of toxins from the water that you eat, from the air that you breathe, from the toxic people, the chemicals you put in your body. This is now the time for a lot of us to really start detoxing and getting rid of all those Bath and Body Works smell goods and all that meat eating and shit like that, because that's what's going to block you up and make you a vibrational match for the coronavirus, because this virus is going to kill millions of people. Because remember, it's population control. They are trying to wire people out and move us more towards an industrial society. It's an economic move too, all right? So remember, the thymus and the lymphatic system are ran by what? The thyroid, which is ran by Rhett. The throat chakra, which is ran by Taurus energy. Remember, Uranus is in Taurus right now. It's not a coincidence that this disease is coming online, right? Uranus, which is about unexpected events and swift moving changes, right? As we are entering into this virus becoming global, right? So if you have a lot of Taurus energy in your chart, you want to be careful too. Then the liver is ran by the solar plexus, which is Taurus and Leo and Virgo energy. So you want to be making sure that you're healing and detoxing that energy if you have a lot of Leo and Virgo energy in your chart, all right? Solar plexus chakra healing, throat chakra healing, doing detoxifications, all that stuff. And I'm going to post the links to a lot of this information in the description box, in the comment section, okay? They also say that basically another thing that can cause like the sepsis is lack of calcium to help regulate the blood system. But remember, everyone is lacking in calcium on a wide stage. Why? Because the factory farming and the way that we grow our food, there's no nutrients in the soil because they just keep on planting. They rip it out, they put it back in, rip it out. There's no nutrients in the soil. So everyone has a major calcium deficiency. Then if we drink a lot of malt liquor, a lot of alcohol, and a lot of sugar, that also binds to the calcium receptors and calcium molecules in the body and flushes them out your urine. So if your pee is really like yellow a lot or like really neon green, you're flushing a lot of calcium out of your system. So take a magnesium calcium mix supplement, because that's more bioavailable to the body, meaning that it's when you ingest it, you'll get more out of it than just a plain magnesium or a plain calcium, okay? That can really help you. Now let's get into some of these other, resources that I looked up for this coronavirus. Because I'm not getting, y'all not about to put us in all these frenzies and frequencies and all that shit, have us running around. Oh, coronavirus, like that's what they want you to do, okay? All right. So basically they were saying like the coronavirus kills by causing sepsis and things like that and coagulates the blood, right? So, okay, well then how do you decoagulate the blood? So it says here, blood clotting or coagulation is also caused by a lack of calcium as well, right? Remember I told you, they've been gearing up towards this because remember, they've already weakened us on a massive scale with all the chemicals they put in the food and lack thereof and the lack of nutrients and all that other stuff. So it's easy. They produce like this epidemic. Everyone's going to get hit. A lot of people are going to get hit because a lot of us are already experiencing some of these deficiencies, right? Okay, so let's says here, what are factors that coagulate the blood? You see right here? So remember, these are certain factors that get triggered within the body. Oh my God, that create coagulation in the blood. You see liver, damaged tissue cells, different calcium ions or lack thereof activate the coagulation factor, okay? So I really want y'all to go look these different factors up and see, okay, how are these factors activated in the body? Through what pathway? What foods or stress factors or diseases can trigger, the coagulation factor in the body, okay? Now, another thing too, to also understand, this is like triggering back oh my God, I remember my microbiology and physiology days, fuck. I'm so happy I'm out of that. But this is just kind of getting me excited again to like really use the knowledge that I learned to help y'all in the spiritual realm. These factors can also be activated, right, by certain DNA activations in certain foods and chemicals. A lot of us don't even know that certain DNA codons are always being activated and deactivated all the time. You can listen to certain noise pollution, certain chemicals can activate or deactivate, right? That's why there was a really good article and it was talking about how communities that are really impacted by environmental pollution actually have specific DNA codons that are deactivated. There are 64 DNA codons, and most people only 24 are activated. And people who are spiritual, who can go back and forth from the 5D to the 10D, we have at least 30 codons activated. Keep activating those codons, okay? Keep raising the vibration so that some of these factors, they're not even able to be triggered because your DNA is at such a high vibration, these factors are now elevated, you see? Because you have to understand that over a period of time, the human body, we've been debilitated and our vibration has been lowered. That's why we're susceptible to all these different diseases and stuff like that. Because remember, back in the day, people would live to like 200, 300 years. So how did that flip to people living to only like 50, 60 years, and then now it's back to like 70 to 80 years? Come on now. Just the same way how like Nephilim, yes, Nephilim. There used to be giants. I'm one of the, and Nephilim in the Amazons. Giants, people who are 13, 14, 15 feet tall. We see pictures of their skeletons and shit like that dug up. Why are we dealing with people who are pygmies, who are short, things like that? Because we've been domesticated and our vibration and frequency lowered. Yes, because of DNA mixing, because of certain foods, because of wars, because of DNA energetic tampering. Oh yes, let's go there. So these are the factors that help coagulate blood. Now, these are the factors that you can help thin your blood for those who are dealing with like the, okay, what do I do about this coronavirus? First, decoagulate the blood, right? Supplements, things like that. These same exact supplements can also help at the same time detox the liver. I would say dandelion, milk thistle, all of that. And hella water and hella steaming. Flood the body with that for like a week. Boom. Okay, good. I got this shit out of my blood. Like I removed the virus. There's also certain sound therapies you can listen to kill certain bacteria and stuff like that. It's called RIFE frequency, RFE. Fill the body with all that stuff. Clean out the liver, clean out the spleen and the lymphatic system. Okay, boom. I did that. Now let's thin the blood. Okay, boom. Now I need to boost my circulation and drain my lymphatic system. How do I do that? I have to boost my circulation. How do I do that? My lymphatic system and my circulatory system. Breathing, it says right here, the lymph system is stimulated by gravity, AKA doing yoga, running, right? Muscle contraction, exercise, hydrotherapy, alternating hot and cold water on the skin, steaming, all that stuff, breathing, lymph drainage therapy, and massages. Those are the things that can help your lymphatic system get moving and detox it, etc. Okay? So, and drinking hella water, exercising regularly. That's why I put in that karmic channeling where I talked about the anatomy of a karmic, how to take care of your gifts. You do have to exercise, move your body around, all that type of stuff. That's a part of your blood systems and your heart staying above like a certain blood pressure to keep your blood really flowing and moving and things like that. Coffee will also help that. So if you, let's say for instance, you don't even have to have coronavirus, but let's say you get like a sick or something like that. Hella water, hella dandelion, hella milk thistle, hella ginger, and hella coffee. Because remember, coffee is a, oh my God, what's this thing called? Coffee is a stimulant, yes. But there's something about the coffee, I feel like they said that it dilates or it opens up like the blood vessels for more blood to be able to flow through. There's a specific word for it. I can't remember. It starts with a C. Jeez, I'm gonna remember later and be like super nerdy about it. But drinking hella coffee too. Even when, like, if you look at the different herbal grimoires of like how different herbs can be used for magic, coffee is listed as for breaking spells. Yes, because you get your blood flow pumping, all that type of stuff, and then it gets circulating around the body. It breaks the different spells that are being put on your different chakra systems. Yes, I need to teach a class about this stuff. Yes, so there we go. All right. So let's keep it pushing. So now I want to link into, oh, so that was that. Let's get into the cards. So let's see what the ancestors have to say in terms of, you know, this Wuhan virus and what we should be prepared for and what's really going on. Okay. All right. Let's see. Dear bright and well-loving ancestors, what can you tell us about the coronavirus? What do we need to know about the coronavirus for the collective? Oh, Lord have mercy. What do we need to know about the coronavirus? Fifth chakra, what did I say? Throat chakra, okay? Another thing too, watch who you sleep with, because if you're fucking with people who have low vibrational energy or a lot of toxic energy, that's gonna break down your solar plexus chakra first, right? There you go. So we already have fifth chakra, Archangel Gabriel. What did I say? Your third chakra is going to be impacted. Wow, look at the bottom of the deck. Third chakra, Archangel Chamuel. Yes, solar plexus chakra and the throat chakra. Okay, so dear bright and loving ancestors, what do we need to know about the coronavirus? Wow, she is sick with it. What do we need to know about the coronavirus? The sun. Yeah, they really are working to eliminate a lot of people. Contract at the top of the deck, it's all planned. Yep. I don't know why I felt this contract card was going to come up. And then the fact that it was on the top of the deck, hella wilds. All right. So I'm going to answer that in a minute. Let's get into this. All right. So dear bright and well-loving ancestors, please clarify fifth chakra, Archangel Gabriel. With the Wheel of Fortune. Yes. Okay. Be careful of stagnation, blockages, and delays, all right, y'all, in your throat chakra, in your energy, okay? So that's what this is saying right here, because, oh, Lord have mercy, all right? That's what I feel what this is saying, bad luck, bad karma, stagnation. So make sure to keep that wheel in the upright. What's the third chakra, Archangel Chamuel? Third chakra for coronavirus? With the Knight of Swords. Okay, I feel like this is all about like not missing an opportunity to really take in this information, or making sure that you're doing what you need to do in order to stay up to par. That's interesting. What's the third chakra? What's the third chakra for coronavirus? Okay, with the World card here in reverse. All righty. All right, that makes some sense. So basically what this is saying here, of course, it's the World, but I feel like with the third chakra, it's saying like really work on your solar plexus chakra. Don't get into like the low vibrational Knight of Swords energy of arguments and talking about stuff without like all the facts and details and all of that stuff, because what that's really going to do, it's going to block you from being able to really like bring this full circle to do your healing, to make sure that your chakras are in the right place necessary to not be impacted, okay? That's what I feel like this is saying right here. All right, dear bright and well-loving ancestors, clarify the contract card with the Chariot in the reverse. Blockages, stagnation, and delays, aggression. So with this contract card clarifying this Chariot, I feel like what's happening here is like, yes, remember that this is a part of like what they're trying to do to create like that one world government and all that stuff. The Chariot here, this is a part of plan to create blockages, obstacles, and delays for individuals, for society, for humanity, really. But also remember, the South Node right now is in Cancer. Cancer is all about the public. Cancer is also the mother, right? Now clarify the Sun. Clarify the Sun for coronavirus, Wuhan coronavirus, with the Two of Pentacles, okay, in the reverse. Loss of finances. Remember I told you that this is an economic move, right? I told you that. This is also a plot to really, because remember, China has a lot of human rights abuses already. I don't know if you heard this, but they killed over, they put over 1 million Chinese Muslims in concentration camps and exterminated them. And people are not even talking about this, right? I feel like there should be a global boycott on products until that shit comes to an end. But with this Two of Pentacles here and the Sun card, they're basically trying to make a whole bunch of people poor, right? Shift them into poverty, make them destitute, desolate, then make them sick so that they can what? Push those jobs into factory jobs. It's all a strategy. All righty. All right. So y'all, that's what I have for y'all regarding the coronavirus, okay? Please, share this video, like it, subscribe, etc. I'm gonna put all the information for those different websites in the description box below, all right? Have a great day. I hope you enjoy. Bye.